stop begging for attention, for validation, for love, for opportunities. Pause. A man with value does not beg. Stay with me, because this habit is destroying your dignity. Begging does not always look desperate. Sometimes it looks subtle. It looks like sending one more message after silence. It looks like over-explaining yourself to be understood. It looks like lowering your standards to avoid being alone. It looks like tolerating disrespect just to stay included. Underneath it is fear. Fear of loneliness, fear of rejection, fear of being forgotten. You fear that if you stop chasing, everything will disappear. So you hold tighter. You seek reassurance. You ask for constant confirmation. You need responses to feel secure. That need becomes emotional dependence. And emotional dependence erodes self-respect quietly. Low self-worth fuels this behavior. If you do not believe you are enough, you will try to convince others to stay. If you do not value yourself, you will overvalue their approval. External validation becomes addictive. Compliments feel like oxygen. Attention feels like stability. Silence feels like danger. So you beg. Not always with words, but with energy. And energy is visible. Begging lowers your value because it signals insecurity. It tells people you are afraid to lose them. It tells them your standards are flexible. It tells them you will tolerate imbalance. And when you tolerate imbalance, respect decreases. Respect requires boundaries. Begging weakens boundaries. When you chase excessively, you give power away. You communicate that their presence is more important than your dignity. Over time, your confidence drains. Not because they left, but because you abandoned yourself trying to keep them. That is the real loss. If something must be forced to stay, it was never stable. Pause. This is where the shift begins. Instead of chasing, you build. You improve your skills. You strengthen your body. You sharpen your mind. You create independence. You invest in discipline because value is created internally. And when you create value, you do not need to advertise it. It becomes visible. Desperation chases. Discipline attracts. Begging lowers standards. Self-respect raises them. Approval fades. Character remains. Desperation speaks loudly. Strength moves quietly. When you improve yourself daily, your neediness decreases. Because you trust your progress. You trust your path. You understand something important. What leaves was never secured by force. And what belongs will not require pleading. Emotional control becomes essential. When rejection happens, you stay calm. You accept no without argument. You do not demand explanations. You do not attempt to negotiate affection. You listen. You nod. You walk away composed. That composure protects your dignity. You do not react impulsively. You do not send emotional paragraphs. You do not beg for reconsideration. You protect your energy. Because energy spent convincing someone to see your worth is energy wasted. Your worth does not increase through persuasion. It increases through development. You build internal validation. You trust your decisions. You set firm standards. You define what you accept and what you reject. You stop needing constant reassurance, because reassurance from others is temporary. Self-trust is permanent. You measure yourself by discipline, by consistency, by growth, not by how often someone chooses you. Long-term growth becomes your focus. You invest in habits, in patience, in structure, in competence. When your life becomes full of progress, you no longer fear someone leaving, because you know you can rebuild. Identity begins to shift. You stop chasing. You stop explaining your worth. You stop pleading for time, love, or attention. You focus on growth. Your posture changes. Your voice steadies. Your presence strengthens. Respect begins internally. If it has to be forced, pause. It's not for you. The right things do not require begging. Pause. They require preparation. Preparation in character, preparation in discipline, preparation in self-respect. When you prepare properly, opportunities align naturally. Relationships become mutual. Respect becomes balanced. You are no longer trying to be chosen. You are deciding what aligns. That is power. Not loud, not arrogant, just certain. This becomes your standard. No begging, no chasing, no proving, no desperation. Build value. Maintain dignity. Walk away when necessary. If someone cannot meet your standards, you release them calmly. No drama, no resentment, just clarity. You understand that walking away is not loss. It is protection. Protection of your boundaries. Protection of your identity. Protection of your future. You do not fear being alone. You fear lowering your standards. And that fear keeps you disciplined. You continue building day by day. Skill by skill, habit by habit. Your confidence grows from effort, not approval. Your independence grows from discipline, not validation. Over time, something changes. You become less reactive, less anxious, less dependent, more focused, more centered, more composed. People sense it. Because true self-respect is quiet but powerful. You are no longer asking to be accepted. You are evaluating what deserves your presence. That is the upgrade. You are not cold. You are controlled. You are not distant. You are disciplined. You are not arrogant. You simply know your value. And a man who knows his value does not beg. He builds. He improves. He stands firm. You begin to notice the difference in your energy. When you stop begging, your mind becomes quieter. You are no longer waiting for replies, no longer checking for approval, no longer adjusting yourself to fit into spaces that shrink you. That silence brings clarity. Clarity shows you where you were compromising, where you were overgiving, where you were tolerating less than you deserved. And once you see it clearly, you cannot unsee it. Self-respect requires boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they are standards. They define what is acceptable. They protect your time, your attention, your effort. If someone crosses them repeatedly, you do not argue endlessly. You respond once. Calmly, directly, and if nothing changes, you adjust your access. That is maturity. You stop negotiating your values to be included. You stop shrinking your expectations to avoid conflict. You understand that tension is sometimes necessary because alignment matters more than comfort. Discipline strengthens this mindset. You wake up even when no one expects you to. You train even when no one is watching. You learn even when it is inconvenient. These actions build internal proof. Proof that you can rely on yourself. And once you rely on yourself, dependence on others decreases. You begin to choose, not chase. Choose environments that challenge you. Choose relationships that respect you. Choose work that develops you. Chasing creates imbalance. Choice creates power. This power is quiet. It does not need to declare itself. It simply exists in your posture, in your eye contact, in the steadiness of your voice. You no longer rush to fill silence. You no longer overshare to feel seen. You become comfortable with stillness because you are anchored internally. When someone withdraws, you do not panic. You observe. When someone hesitates, you do not beg. You assess. When someone leaves, you do not chase. You let them go. Not out of pride, but out of alignment. You trust that what is meant for your level of discipline will meet you at that level. And if it does not, you continue building. Loneliness feels different now. It is not emptiness. It is space. Space to refine yourself. Space to upgrade your standards. Space to grow without distraction. You use that space wisely. Read more. Train harder. Reflect deeper. Plan carefully. Every quiet hour becomes investment. Every controlled reaction becomes strength. You also stop romanticizing struggle. You do not beg opportunity. You prepare for it. You do not beg respect. You command it through conduct. You do not beg affection. You cultivate qualities that attract it naturally. Patience becomes your advantage. You think in years, not weeks. You understand that identity is built slowly, and identity determines everything. If you are disciplined, opportunities increase. If you are reliable, trust increases. If you are stable, connections deepen. All without begging, all without forcing. That is the transformation. You move from seeking validation to embodying value, from emotional reaction to composed response, from dependence to independence. You are no longer trying to be saved. You are building yourself. And a man who is building does not beg. He improves, he waits, he walks when needed, and he never abandons his dignity again. Comment self-respect if you choose dignity over desperation. Or type no begging if you're becoming the man who walks away.